this world. And there are so many solutions out there when it comes to our own daily lives. Watch less television, try to eat organic, drink more purified water, spend time with our families, breathe deeply, something I've been trying to do. I still look like hell, but Dr. Group got out of his car this morning, same time I did when he drove up from South Texas. He said, man, you look a lot better. And every time he comes, he can see that. But everybody sees me on the streets, you name it. I still, you know, after 15 years of no exercise and eating like a pig and working 18 hours a day, I got wrecked. It's taken me 4 or 5 years to just try to get back to some semblance. But I can exercise less, work even harder now. And with the supplements he developed and that we've developed, I have been able to maintain and go to the next level and just really improve my quality of life with the Super Male Vitality, the Survival Shield X2 Nascent Iodine, the Lung Cleanse. When I can't get rid of a cold with antibiotics, I don't know why I took antibiotics this year. It didn't work. Bunch of colloidal silver, it worked. InfoWarsLife.com. Now, he's not here to infomercial today, but I am going to roll out a new product that he advised us on, but that is not a product that we're basically in business on. But he called it a bad-to-the-bone super product, to quote him earlier, giving us his assessment before we went live, calling it one of the best eye formulas he's ever seen. Because this is something I care about. You can keep, according to the medical literature, a lot of bad things happening with the proper nutrition with the eyes. That's a fact. We have a patented, very expensive ingredient in here that is known to do a lot of important things to the eye. And everybody knows what carrots do for the eye. Well, this is carrots squared, basically. And it's OcuPower. We're going to talk about it later towards the end of the hour. Open Your Eyes dietary supplement. It's more affordable than something like DNA Force that's sold out and is the Rolls Royce of just super supplement, which we'll hopefully have in a few months. We weren't kidding about it selling out. This will probably sell out in a couple of days because it's based on some of the same research and principles of DNA Force, some of the same regenerative principles, but at a more affordable price. It's $29.95 for this, not $130 like DNA Force. By the way, DNA Force is a $600 formula with leading competitors, but ours is even stronger for $130. It's a nutraceutical. The stuff in it costs us $12,000 from Mitsubishi, developed right here in America, and is the only pure, true formula. We could buy cheaper Chinese forms, and it's patented only one type. This has something that's a lot less expensive, but that is patented as well, and I'm taking it, and that's one reason. We're going to skip this network break because I don't want to take any of Dr. Group's time here. But Dr. Group, you heard me just ranting about world events. I didn't mean to get to, into OcuPower that is now available at InfoWarsLife.com. Infowars.com/eyes to find the subsection of the site where it's been since last week. But I didn't want to roll it out and start, in promoting it here on the air and endorse it until I had you here to break it down with us. Infowars.com/eyes, or you just go to InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com and go to the supplement area to find it. But since I jumped the gun and prematurely launched here, just getting exciting about OcuPower, this supplement for the eyes that I just started taking a few months ago before it was even officially out. And I know you didn't come here today to really talk about this, but since you helped advise us on it, why do you call it a bad-to-the-bone super eye formula? Or, those were your words, but break it down for me.
Well, when you guys came to me and said, hey, we want an eye formula, I started doing the research, and I don't really need to do the research because I have people that call my office every single day that are having eye problems, macular degeneration, cataracts, glaucomas. We're in a situation now where practically every person over the age of 40 has to have reading glasses. Look at all the laser surgeries that are out there. Look at all the glasses.
My eyes have just started to go. Always had incredible vision. It is so bizarre to have them start to go a little bit, and since I've been on this, I've seen a difference.
Right now, there's a major epidemic going on, especially with the over 40 individuals, males and females. And if you look at the eyes, it all boils back down to one thing, which is too many toxins like we talk about coming in and not enough coming out. The eyes especially are exposed to more damaging UV rays right now. They're also exposed to all the chemicals and everything in the chemtrails, all the chemicals leaking out of your pillow and everything else. And what's happening is people aren't cleaning their bloodstream enough. Their arteries are becoming clogged, and the small, tiny, tiny, tiny little veins in the eyes and the arteries in the eyes are becoming clogged a little bit and not providing the amount of oxygen and the nutrients that the eyes need to continue seeing really good, like lutein and vitamin E and astaxanthin and some of the other compounds that we have in the ocular power. And so because of the fact that I've had so many requests for it, and actually my aunt has been suffering for a long time and from problems with her eyes.
Aspartame eats your eyes.
Aspartame, I mean, you know, it's a combination of all kinds of things, and especially, too, looking at computer screens all day long. I mean, I know people in their 20s and 30s right now that are having eye problems and they're seeing bad because...
Well, I've seen the studies admitting that, especially the new screens are frying our eyes. What's happening there?
Wi-Fi, electromagnetic frequencies, being next to eyes are very sensitive. You know, you have your rods and your cones in there. And we talked about that before on how sensitive the rods and the cones are because the pineal gland also has rods and cones. And when you put in fluoride and chlorine and bromine and the other halogens, which the iodine helps remove, you also get calcification in the two areas, the pineal gland and the eyes, the rods and cones of the eyes. So those also need to be detoxified. When you guys came and said, hey, we want to do an eye formula, and I was basically like, well, let me help you out. You know, right now I'm busy with all the other stuff, but let's put together a formula that I would take on a regular basis and that I would feel comfortable sending people over here to buy for their eyes. Then I started looking at the different, you know, substances and found out that there really, again, is not some company out there that has all of these ingredients in one high-tech formula.
The reason InfoWarsLife.com is so popular is that we, with your help and others, we really do go out and try to make the best formula, the strongest formulas at the best prices. It's so bizarre how many supplements, now that I'm really getting into this, where the companies are just cheap. They don't want to spend $50-something on the ingredients into a bottle. They want to spend $2 and tell you it's really expensive. I mean, they don't want to really give you all the stuff that's known that's good for the eye. It's all marketing bull. I can't believe it.
It's absolutely out of control. I mean, you know, there are some good companies out there. There are very, very few good companies out there that actually go through the quality control and the testing of the raw materials. And look, I mean, just for, let's say, DNA Force, I mean, astragalus in there, I mean, there's 100 different suppliers. You can get it from China for as low as $16 a kilogram. But yes, it's probably high in arsenic, lead, cadmium, all of the toxic chemicals, mercury, or you can get a clean U.S. source, you know, for maybe $30 a kilogram. There's a big difference when you're sourcing out raw materials for.
But still, we do it, have to pay for the expensive testing, and still sometimes we find it's not in the California standard. That's basically impossible that they did on purpose to shut down supplements.
It can cost us up to $5,000 just to test each individual batch that comes off the line before and after.
So here's what we're saying. Nobody's perfect, but we are neurotic to try to give you the absolute over-the-top best. But in this contaminated world, it's not even, I mean, it's just, it's that insane.
I've been talking to growers. I was just in California for 20 days and toured some of the organic farms and went up into the forest and talked to some people. The park services up there, they have no clue about Fukushima and what's happening. The herbalists and the medicinal people, they do, because the food shortages up there are going crazy. The drought is devastating things. I was in the redwood forest, and 100 feet from me, a tree that was, you know, as big as a car just fell over. And the guys were telling me, yes, because of the radiation coming over and because of the drought and because of everything else affecting the land out here, it's like microwave energy. It's rotting the trees from the inside out, and they're just falling over. And I was talking to an herbalist, and she said, we can't even go in the forest anymore and wildcraft a lot of these herbs because they're all dying back, and there's not anything available. So people don't understand the... Well, you're listening.
The thousands of smokestacks of the totally dirty coal plants in China, the jet stream, all rains down over the U.S.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just, well, I mean, we've shown the news reports for all over the country, just aluminum dioxide in the soil is just killing the plants. I mean, this
causing the soil to become extremely acidic, and all this getting sucked up into the trees. I mean, the land is unhealthy, the earth is unhealthy, the waters are contaminated, the air is contaminated. That's the reason why, you know, the only solution to this, which I always like to talk about solutions, is becoming educated and knowing what you need to do and what to protect yourself and protect your family, especially like stuff with Ebola and all these new things. There's always a lot of diversions, like what you were saying. There's a fight going on politically around the world. There's a fight going on with healthcare around the world. There's a fight going on with, you know, nuclear stuff around the world. There's all these different fights going on with pandemics and all this stuff coming together, which is just
the Earth is
diversion.
The Earth is reaching its carrying capacity, and you'll hear that from the eugenicists. But there is a carrying capacity with the level of technology we've got now. Then the globalists are working to destabilize things, in their own words, to bring in the global crisis so that we will then accept all their demands. I mean, this is a perfect storm of evil, because it's easier for them to ride and direct the crises, both created ones but ones that are naturally there, to get more power than to try to fix it. Because it's hard to fix things. Instead, they've just decided to make it as bad as they can, burn down the world, and then they will inherit it because they're posing as the savior. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but the good news in that, it's not as hard as people think to fix things, because you can look at the human body. It takes a beating over 40 years. It might take you 30 or 40 years with patients coming in of destroying their body with bad food and bad air and everything else. But the good news is we've been able to turn that around in less than 90 days. And we know that the liver regenerates in 90 days. The skin tissue regenerates in 24 hours. So you could completely destroy the body for 30 years straight and regenerate it. And, you know, a really good regeneration could happen in your body in 90 days of you just drinking water, eliminating all those toxic artificial sweeteners, the chemicals, all the other stuff that we talk about.
That's right. I've only eliminated
it too. The Earth could clean itself really fast as well. So there is a good positive solution if we just look at how we regenerate. The plants regenerate the same way. The water regenerates. We just have to eliminate all the stuff that's actually killing us and poisoning us.
Undoubtedly, the government is engaged in geoengineering. I've talked to meteorologists on air, multiple meteorologists that have, you know, TV shows on news, and they say, no, clearly there's planes off the coast, the West Coast, spraying to block weather fronts and to knock that Pacific moisture down. What's the long-term plan of the globalists to turn California into a desert? I mean, I guess they're going to run everybody out and make it collapse and then come back in and I guess turn the water back on, because even Klamath Falls and other areas where lakes are full of water, they'll just dump it in the ocean and redirect it over some sucker fish that isn't even indigenous. So the farmers go bankrupt. This has been going on for 10 years. I mean, at every level, they are systematically trying to bankrupt us.
Well, you got to remember that most of the food's grown in California, too. So, you know, when there's a food and food prices are going through the roof right now.
They're attacking our breadbasket.
They are. I mean, I've talked to restaurant suppliers. I was on the phone with one of the main guys at, well, I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant, but it's a higher-end restaurant that's all around the world. And he said they're having an extremely hard time right now with beef and pork and all the commodities because there's such an in short supply, and they're raising the price.
Steaks are now $50.
Putting them out of business completely.
Really?
Yes. Yes. I mean, look at it. What? You need how many gallons per day for a cow to, you know, a cow needs to drink something like 30 gallons of water a day or something like that. They don't have any, you know, the droughts, the chemicals. What are the cows eating right now? The grass, which is contaminated with aluminum oxides and everything. They're being shot up with hormones so they can get ready to butcher in 1 year instead of 3. You know, the pigs are contaminated because they're being fed a bunch of GMO food, as well as the cows. I mean, sooner or later, it's going to come to a breaking point, and then you're going to have that all roll over into the restaurants and into the human situation. So, yeah, I mean, the food, we all know that the food supply, and that's one of the mechanisms of many that is done by design to make you more dependent, fear and make you more dependent and make you more sick.
And then who does the government demonize? Anybody that tries to get off the grid and be self-sufficient, that's who they watch. So so what's the plan? Why do they want us totally dependent as they turn the resources off?
Has to do with Agenda 21. I mean, you know, they want districts. They want agricultural districts. They want capital districts. They want all the districts, and they want control. And they want to control the population.
Which is also in rollerball.
Yeah, they want you dependent upon them for everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's all in Club of Rome. When you see rollerball or you see or
Hunger Games
or read Hunger Games, that's art imitating life. See, folks, we're not here saying it's you know, we're not copying Hunger Games. Well, this is the Hunger Games.
We're on the march.
We'll be back.